Hey students, I hope all of you are enjoying good time. After the detailed videos of noun, pronoun and adjective, now it's time for a brief video of verb. So without further ado, let's get started. Verb. Most of the students have the definition of verb that these are action words. Yes, they are right to some extent. It is defined as action, state of being and possession. There are three different things that are mentioned here under the heading of verbs, and I'll explain them in detail. Verbs are basically very important tool. They are the important building blocks of the English grammar. Without verbs, our sentences are not complete. So they are very important in the formation of a sentence. The very first thing that is mentioned in the definition of the verb is action. Action means physical activity. For example, jump, run, eat, sing, walk, etc. They jump on the trampoline. Now, in this sentence, jump is the first form of the verb that has been used after the subject they. He is running. Now, in this example, running is an action word. They ate mangoes. Again, ate is an action word. He walks daily. So in all these examples, you may observe all the action words. Action words are very easy to analyze within the sentences. Now it's time for state of being. Now state of being shows the condition or the situation of the noun. For example, all the be verbs is, am, are, was, were, will be, shall be that function as main verb within the sentences are considered as verbs. For example, he is a teacher. Now, is here is a main verb and it is used for the pronoun he. It shows the state of the person that he is a teacher. My sister was at the mall. Again, the condition or the situation of the person is mentioned, and was is a main verb, although it's not an action verb, but here it functions as a main verb. They will be here soon. Again, will be is a main verb here, although it is considered as be verbs or auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, because you might have heard about these verbs that they are considered as helping verbs, but they are not all the time helping verbs. They may function as main verbs in the sentences, and in this way they are considered as verb themselves. Next, I have possession. Possession shows the ownership. For example, all the have verbs has, have and had, they show the possession of the nouns. For example, they have a large family. Now, have here is considered as main verb. Again, you might have heard about them that they are helping verbs or auxiliary verbs, but they have their own presence within the sentences when they function as main verb when the action words are not there. They have a large family. Now, here this is the possession of they. I had a book because that book was mine. I was the owner of that book. That's why I have used this word here. I had a book. She has a black dress. Now, in these three examples, has, have and had are functioning as the main verbs. They are not helping any action word. That's how they are under the heading of verbs. Now, there are 6 basic forms of verbs. I'll explain all these examples in my further videos, but here I'll give you a glimpse of all of them with the help of single example. The first one is base form. Base form means simply in normal language you say it as first form of verb. We play in the ground. Play is the first form of verb. Past form of the verb is the second form of verb that is used in the past indefinite tense. They played yesterday. Then we have past participle that is used in perfect tenses. They have played. Then present participle that is used in progressive tenses. They are playing. Action words are there. Next one is infinitive. Infinitive is also formed of verb. that is preposition plus first form of verb, and they functions as noun in the sentences, but they are considered as the form of verbs. And the last one is gerund, that is also formed of verb, that is verb plus ing, but their function is not of main or action verb within the sentences, and I'll explain these two, infinitive and gerunds, in my next videos in detail. Then next I have some types of verbs. The very first type is finite verb, then I have non-finite verb, then action verb, linking verb, and auxiliary verb. These all are the types of verbs. Well, these both are opposite to each other. Finite means change and non-finite means unchanged. Finite verbs are those verbs that can be changed into different forms according to subject, number, and person. They also help in change of tense. This is the identification of a finite verb, that we can change it into different forms, whatever the subject is, whatever the number is, or whatever the person is. And these verbs are used to change the tense within the piece of writing. For example, they like reading books. Now, in this sentence, like is a finite verb because I can change it into another form. Like, for example, she likes reading comic books. So, like in the first sentence was present tense, and again likes in the second sentence is in the present tense. But this is used, these verbs, both the verbs are used according to the subject within the sentences. For they, I have used first form, base form of the verb, and for she, as it is singular, I have used s with the verb like. So this is according to the rules of the tenses. Next example, please. She is cooking the meal. They were cooking the meal. Now here is and were, they are considered as finite verbs because we can switch them according to the tense. He has bought a pen. I have bought a pen. Now again, change of subject is there. With the first example, he is there and I have used has, and in the second example, I is there and I have used have. Now it's time for non-finite verbs. These verbs have nothing to do with subject and tense. It remains the same everywhere but with a different function as compared to finite verbs. Like, we are not supposed to change the tense, we are not supposed to change the non-finite verbs, we are not supposed to change them according to subject, number, and person. They will remain the same wherever they are written because their function is different, their function is not of tense. These function as nouns, these functions as adverbs, and these function as adjectives. Let's have a look on examples. He likes reading books. In the earlier example, I discussed the same, and here he likes reading books. Now, likes is a finite verb in this sentence, but if we look at this word reading, now this is not a finite verb because it is same within this example and it will be same in the another example if I write it there for you, because only one verb is there that is changed according to tense, and that is likes. Here reading is a non-finite verb. Skiing is a good exercise. Now skiing in this sentence is a non-finite verb. It is not an action word. They want to work daily. Now again in this sentence, to work is a non-finite verb. Why? Because if I write they wanted to work daily, to work will remain the same. If I say skiing was a good exercise for someone, so again skiing will be same for that example and for the previous example too. He liked reading books or he will like reading books. Reading will be same within all these examples. Further, non-finite verbs have been categorized into three types. Number one is participle that can be present or past, infinitives, and gerunds or gerunds. Now, there are two functions of participles. That the first one is that participle functions as an adjective. like it will function as an adjective within a sentence. It can be a form of present participle or it can be a form of past participle, but the function will be of an adjective. And the second function is this, that they form a verb tense with the help of auxiliary or helping verb. The second function is this, that it is used within the tenses, within the perfect sentences or perfect tenses, to change the tense or verb tense. Now, first, participles as verb tense. Where do we use participles to form a verb tense? Example, he is working on a project. Here, helping verb is used with this verb ing, that is working, and it forms a verb tense here. He is working on a project. Now, is working, these both words are making a verb tense, because working here is a main action word. They were talking to their friends. Now again, with the help of auxiliary, were is there and talking main action is there, they are forming a verb tense. Here these are considered as action words. She will be playing chess. Now will be playing is a verb tense. With the help of an auxiliary, will be, it functions as a verb within this sentence. So this is all about participles as verb tense. It's time for participle as adjectives. We have to look for that where do adjectives function as a participle. For example, this is a broken chair. Now, this is a broken chair. Now, if you analyze this sentence, this is a broken chair, divide it into different parts. So, you will be able to analyze that broken here is a past participle that is used to modify the noun chair. It is a living thing. Now, if you remove this word living from here, the sentence will be it is a thing, and it's correct. Now, if you have used living, it is a living thing. Living is a present participle and it is used as an adjective to modify the noun thing. Now, next we have gerunds. Verbs that act as nouns are called gerunds. All of you know that gerunds are form of verb that are formed with the help of base form of verb plus ing, but their function is of noun in a sentence. It is not functioning, or it will not function as the main action, physical activity within a sentence. Now, you all know that these can be subject or object in a sentence. Means then when we talk about nouns, nouns can be either at the place of the subject or either at the place of the object. So that's how the verbs that function as noun are called gerunds. Now, she loves writing. Now, she is your subject, loves is verb, and writing is object here, and it is at the place of the noun or at the place of the object that functions as a noun. Last example, the best exercise is swimming. Now, again, if you analyze this whole sentence, so swimming is at the place of object and it functions as a noun and gerund. Next, I have infinitives. It is a base form of verb followed by preposition, and that preposition is to. Like, you can form this infinitive with the help of a preposition to plus verb one, but the function will be of either noun, either adjective, or with an adverb within a sentence. For example, Jane wants to visit America. Now, here Jane is your subject, wants is your verb, to visit is considered as an infinitive, and America is your destination or the place wherever you want to visit. She wants to become a super chef. Now, wants is your action verb, and to become, it's an infinitive that you are describing this sentence in detail, and you have used this infinitive that is to become, and it answers the question what does she want to become. So she wants to become a super chef. I'll explain it in the later videos separately, each and every category of non-finite verbs. So until then, you have to look for this explanation. The last example is they want to watch a movie. So again, infinitive is used here. To watch is there. Action verbs. These verbs indicate what the subject performs. These verbs show the physical activity of a subject. For example, sing, talk, play, act, shout, read, paint, etc. These all words include physical activity, so that's why they are known as action words or action verbs. These verbs can be changed into different forms. There are 5 forms of verbs that are used in different sentences or writings to show the tense of the action. Basically, these 5 forms are used within the writings, within the sentences, to analyze the tense of the action. For example, she has been working since evening. Now, has been working within this sentence as verb tense shows the tense of the action. They want to work now. She played cricket daily. He was writing a story. Now, in all these sentences, the helping verbs plus main action words show the tenses of the sentences. Now it's time for forms of verbs. There are 5 different forms of verb. The very first form of verb is known as base form of verb. Second form is known as past form. It is used in past indefinite tense. Third form of the verb is usually known as past participle and it is used in perfect tenses. Fourth form is known as present participle and it is used in progressive or continuous tenses. And the last form, that is fifth form of the verb, is considered as present form of verb or third person singular form. Let's have a look on examples. For example, watch. Its second form is watched. Its third form is watched. Fourth form is with verb plus ing, that is watching. And fifth form of the verb, that is third person singular, is watches, that is used with the singular subject in the present indefinite tense. Smile, smiled, smiled, smiling, and then smiles. Work, worked, worked, working, and works. Ring, rang, rung, ringing, rings. Break, broke, broken, breaking, and breaks. Read, 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 reading, and reads. Now, these spellings of second and third form are as similar to the first base form, but the pronunciation is different. And then paint, painted, painted, painting, and paints. Action verbs can be regular or irregular. Now, let me explain the difference between the two. Regular verbs follow the same pattern of the base form with the addition of ed, id, or d in the second and third forms of the verbs. It means that we just follow the same pattern. We will just go with the spelling of the base form of the verb and we will add ed, id, or d with it. For example, play, played, and played. In the second and third form of the verb, the spellings are usual to the base form and only ed is added with it. Then wash, washed, and washed, same pattern. wash is there, and in the second and third forms with the same spelling, ed is added. Talk, talked, and talked. Again, the second and third form is similar to the base form with the addition of ed and ed. Then next is shout, shouted, shouted. Please, pleased, and pleased. Here in this example, spelling of the base form is there. The second and third form on only the addition of d is there. Then next I have irregular verbs. These verbs do not follow the same pattern of the base form and either the spellings of the verb remain same in second and third form or it is totally changed. ed, id, or d is not added at all. Let's have a look on examples and you will be able to understand what is the different pattern from the base form of verb. Examples: put, put, and put. The base form of this verb put and then second and third form, the spelling is same in all the forms. Cut, cut, cut. The second and third form of cut is same. Then shut, shut, shut. Now, buy, bought, and bought. Spellings is not same of the base verb as the base verb is there, but the spelling is totally changed in the second and then in the third form of the verb. The next is see, saw and seen. Bring, brought and brought. Sit, sat, sit. Teach, taught, taught, etc. In all these examples, you might have observed that either the spellings are similar with the base form of verb or the spelling is changed from the base form of the verb, and we have not added any ed, id, ied or d there in these examples and in their second and third form of the verb. So regular and irregular verbs are very easy. Just use them in your sentences and just try to learn the second, third, fourth and fifth form of all the verbs that are there in your text. Linking verb adds details about the subject of the sentence. It simply connects the subject and the complement. Complement means like some sort of any kind of information about the subject. It creates a link between subject and complement instead of showing action. Now you have to keep one thing in mind, that in the previous topic we discussed about action verbs and today it's turn of linking verbs. Linking verbs are not considered as action verbs. They are the source of link between the subject and the complement, but it does not show any kind of physical activity. Generally, linking verbs are called be verbs, which are is, am, are, was and were. For example, act, feel, remain, appear, become, seem, smell, sound, grow, look, prove, stay, taste, turn, etc. Now some verbs in this list can also be action verbs, but to figure out if they are linking verbs, it should be replaced with the forms of be verbs. If the chain sentence makes sense, the verb is called a linking verb. Let me explain it in a bit detail. Like if you use any of the word from this given list, you might feel that this is a source of an action. But if it confuses you, you have to keep one thing in mind, that these verbs will only be considered as linking verbs if we replace them with be verbs. How? Let us see. For example, she appears ready for the game. Now, if you read out this statement, it seems that appears is an action verb. So, how come you are able to say this, that this is a linking verb? Because if you change this sentence with the helping verb, for example, she is ready for the game. Now, both the sentences have same meaning. She appears ready for the game and she is ready for the game. So, in this situation, this appears is considered as a linking verb, because if you just look at this sentence or you just think about this sentence or this word appears, it is not a physical activity. So, it is a linking verb. It is a source of creating a link between the subject and the complement of the sentence. Next sentence, the food seemed delicious. Now, as far as a sentence structure is concerned, the food is your subject, seemed is your verb and delicious is again your adjective or a complement. But if you can change this seemed, or if you can replace this word seemed with any kind of be verbs, so you will get to know that this seemed is not a physical activity or physical action, it is a linking verb. So let me replace this seemed with a be verb. The food was delicious. So both the sentences have same meaning, and seemed and was, these both are the verbs that are used within these sentences. So seemed here is a linking verb and it is connecting the subject, that is the food, with its complement, that is delicious. Another example, you look happy, and its replacement is you are happy. So look is a linking verb. It feels cold. Now feels, it's not an action verb here, and if I can replace it with any kind of helping verb or be verb, it is cold. so it is a linking verb here. That tastes good. Now, if this sentence is only in front of you, so you will think that taste is an action word or it's a kind of physical activity. But you have to keep one thing in your mind, that if it is replaced with any kind of be verbs, so then it's not an action verb, it is a linking verb here. So this sentence can be replaced like this, that is good or this is good. An auxiliary verb helps the main verb to complete its meaning. For example, they were sitting in the class. In this particular sentence, were is an auxiliary verb that is used with the action or main verb within this sentence to complete the meaning and to show the tense. She has written a letter. You may go now. I shall buy a pen. He had finished his work. In all these sentences, were, has, may, shall, and had are used as auxiliary verbs to complete the meaning of the sentences. Now, there are different kinds of auxiliary verbs, and basically there are two kinds of auxiliaries: the primary auxiliaries and the modal auxiliaries. The primary auxiliaries, the verbs like be, do, have, that help the main verbs to provide a complete sense are called primary auxiliaries. Be verbs are used to form different tenses. Be verbs are is, am, are, was, were. For example, she is playing. He was laughing. You are working. They were punished. I am completing the task. In all these sentences, is, am, are, was, were, helping verbs and be verbs, they are used here, and they are basically helping to show the tense of the sentence. Next, we have verbs that are used in different tenses. For example, you have passed the exam. He had taken the meal. The boy has finished the task. Then do verbs are also used in different tenses to form interrogative and negative sentences. For example, do they play tennis? Does the parrot talk? They did not help us. So they also help in the tenses. Then next we have the modal auxiliaries. The modal auxiliaries are the verbs which are used to affect the meaning. They are also considered as helping verbs. These are used along the main verb to express possibility, ability, permission, or necessity. For example, shall, should, will, would, can, could, may, might, must, ought to, etc. Primary auxiliaries and the modal auxiliaries, they are usually known as helping verbs. They are considered as helpers of the main verbs within the sentences. Primary auxiliaries help the main verbs to complete the meaning, especially in tenses. And modal auxiliaries are also helpers, and they tell us about the possibility, ability, permission, or necessity of the action. Now, let me explain the usage of different modal auxiliaries. First of all, shall is used for first person pronouns that are I and we to indicate future time. Examples: I shall go for sports. We shall play hockey. For first person singular pronouns, we use shall. Then shall is also used for second person you and third person he, she, it, they to indicate determination or to express promise, threat, or command. Usually people say that shall is only used for first person pronouns, but it's not like the case. We can use it for second and third person pronoun, but the situation is different for both the usages. For example, let's have a look on the examples. You shall be punished. This is threat. You shall leave the room at once. It's a command, and shall is used with the second person pronoun, that is you. They shall help at any cost. This is a strong determination. He shall be awarded, and it's a promise. So this modal auxiliary, that is shall, is used for first, second and third person pronouns in different ways. Then next I have should. Should is used to express a duty or obligation. For example, you should help the poor. You should work hard. Remember, you have to keep one thing in your mind, that should is not used as the past form of shall. The usage of should is different from shall in different cases. It is used to express the duty or obligation. Next I have usage of will. Will is used for second and third person to indicate future. Examples: he will come soon. They will purchase a car. You will succeed. We usually use this will with second and third person pronouns within our writings, and also for first person pronouns. Will is also used for first person pronoun to indicate determination or to express promise or threat. For example, I will win the prize, it's a determination. We will help you, it's a promise. I will knock you down, it's a threat. The usage of will and shall go side by side, but you have to just keep the basic difference of both, that where we are supposed to use will and where we are supposed to use shall. Then I have would. Would is the past form of will and shall. As I have told you earlier, that should is not considered as the past of shall, but here would is the past form of will and shall. It is also used to express determination, strong desire or polite request. They would help us. It's a determination. Would you please open the door? It's a request. Then next I have can and could, that are used to express ability to do something. Can is used in present tense and could is used in past tense. For example, I can drive a car. He could drive a car. He can solve the sums. He could solve the sums. So in this case, can and could are used in present and past in this way. Now, can is an informal modal auxiliary and could is a polite modal auxiliary and are used to ask for or to give permission. For example, can I go out? We can ask question with the help of this can, and it's an informal request. Could I borrow your pen? In this case, it's kind of polite request. Then may and might. May is considered as present and might is considered as past, and they are used to express wish, possibility or to seek permission. May you live long. It's a wish. May I come in? It's a question and it's asking for permission. It might have rained yesterday. It's a possibility. Might is also used in present tense to show greater doubt and weaker possibility. When we have a strong doubt and where possibility is weak, there we also use might in present tenses. I might see the patient, like I'm not confirmed, I might go there and I might see or visit the patient. Might she contact me? Now it's present tense, but it's a strong doubt and it's a weaker possibility. So in this case, I can use might in my present tense. Then I have must. It is used to express compulsion, obligation, certainty and determination. For example, we must help her. It's a compulsion. Whenever I am supposed to use this word must, it's a compulsion, it's an obligation to do the action at any cost. You must serve your country. It's an obligation. You must have finished your work. It's a determination. Then ought to is there. Ought to is used to express duty or moral obligation. For example, he ought to have worked hard. It's a duty. You ought to ask your teacher for permission. It's an obligation. Ought to and have to, they both are mostly similar, so we can use them as modal auxiliaries within our writings. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Well, these transitive and intransitive verbs are related to action words. I'll explain different definitions to help you out to understand this topic. The very first topic is transitive verb. Transitive verb has a receiver of the action. It means whenever we start writing a sentence or whenever we write a sentence, soon after the verb, we will have a direct object. It is used with an object. Again, if you write down a sentence after the verb, you will definitely use a direct object. A verb in a sentence where the action passes from the verb to the object. While if you have written a sentence, so your action is passed from the verb to the object. It is known as a transitive verb. Or when a verb is directly followed by an object. The sentence structure of this sentence will be subject plus verb plus object. If you write down a sentence with the help of this sentence structure, then your verb is known as transitive verb. Let's have a look on examples. They write a letter. Now, they is your subject, write is a verb, a letter is a direct object upon which the action is done. So, this word write is a transitive verb. She called me. Again, look at the structure of the sentence. She is subject, called is verb, and me is the receiver of the action that is called. So, called is a transitive verb. He completes his work. Now, again, completes is an action word, and his work is the receiver of this action. In this case, it is a transitive verb. I completed my work. Now, I is subject, completed is verb, and my work is a direct object here. She paints a picture. She subject, paints is verb, a picture is your noun phrase. So, in this case, paints is a transitive verb. She is singing a song. Now, she is subject, is singing is your progressive verb, a song again is your object. So, again, singing is a transitive verb here. Now it's time for intransitive verb. A verb that does not have receiver of the action, that is direct object. Within a sentence, when you use subject and verb and after that you do not have direct object, it is known as intransitive verb. It is not used with an object. Same explanation. A verb in a sentence where action does not pass to the object. It is totally opposite of transitive verb. Or when a verb is not followed by an object. A verb that may have preposition, adjectives or adverbials are called intransitive verb. Like in the previous case, there was sentence structure was subject, verb, object, but in this case, the sentence structure might be different. Subject will be there, verb will be there, but it's not necessary that after the verb, direct object is there. We can write any kind of adjective, we can write any kind of adverb or adverbial, or an object might be there but after the preposition. For example, he plays well. Now, he is subject, plays is verb, but after plays, direct object is not there and it is written well. That is known as an adverb. So, in this way, this word plays is as an intransitive verb. Then next we have the cake tastes good. Now, the cake is subject, taste is verb, but good is not a direct object. It is the modification of the verb. So, in this case, taste is an intransitive verb. The apples look fresh. Again, after the verb, there is no direct object. So, look is intransitive verb. She plays in the room. Now, she is subject, plays is verb, but after the action, there is a preposition that is in, and in the room is an adverbial. So, in this case, again, plays is your intransitive verb. They slept soundly. She worked hard. So, in all the examples, the verbs are intransitive. Now, some verbs can be transitive and intransitive both. For example, there is a verb played. He played cricket. Here, he subject, played is verb, and cricket is a direct receiver of the action or a direct object upon which the action is done. In this case, played is transitive verb. He played well. Now, in this case, it is intransitive. The birds sing melodiously. Now, here, sing is an intransitive verb. She sings a song. Object is there, so it's a transitive verb. He stopped the car. Stop is transitive here because the object upon which the action is done, it is there after the verb. The car stopped in the middle of the road. So, in this case, it's intransitive because after the verb, we have a preposition and direct object is not there.